The chaos of the Destiny pub crawl reached its fever pitch as the party tore through the gallery of eccentric masked patriots. Daunt Blaze cracked his fury whip through the sticky alcohol-soaked air, incinerating a blaze of fire and lighting. The Wanderer grappled with a massive opponent, broke free from its grip and drove his blade through another. Meanwhile, the cricket darted between foes with supernatural speed, landing a devastating blow that left one enemy crumpled on the floor. The Teamster's lizard companion sank its teeth into another attacker, finishing him off with a flurry of biting and clawing. As the last standing Patreon shattered a window and fled into the desert night, the party gave chase. Daunt Blaze called upon a swirling cyclonic force, granting flight to several of his companions, whilst Qualm Stain transformed into a black crow and launched into the air. The Inquisitor tore through the space itself, reappearing across the room before soaking through the smashed window in pursuit. Sumotoshi, hindered by his considerable size, found himself wedged awkwardly in the window frame as the others streaked past him in the open desert. It was Keldra Swift Arrow who ended it, leaping onto a table, drawing her bow, and sending a single arrow whistling through the glass to the top of the fleeing enemy in the sand. As the dust settled and the last body fell, the masks of the fallen lay scattered across the pub floor, shattered, scorched, and broken. Sniper King Mask, Kuromi Mask, Toon Blue Eyes, Wide Dragon Mask, Jojo Vampire Mask, Target Mask, Joker Mask, Flower Mask, Lightning Bolt Mask, Rainbow Mask, Angry Emoji Mask, Crying Emoji Mask, My Little Pony Mask. 12 masks, 12 fallen patrons, one very messy floor. The adrenaline faded all at once, and the party collapsed where they stood. When they came to, they found themselves in a rundown, dilapidated version of the Destiny pub, which the locals apparently called themselves the Branded Bar, surrounded by 4 mysterious Harrow cards, a lance, and various other trinkets laid on the table. Daunt Blaze remained in a crumpled heap on the floor, looking for all the world like nothing more than a pile of bones. Looking out the window, the group saw an endless desert stretching to the horizon, broken only by a graveyard filled with caskets marked with zodiac animal symbols. Traditions Daunt recognized as belonging to the Mwangi region. The party divided their spoils, with Sumotoshi claiming a rare and powerful apex shield, Qualm Stain pocketing a peculiar portable hole, and the cricket card being eagerly snatched up by one group. Their moment of rest was interrupted when they discovered by the sheriff, a paint-splattered, confused cyborg, unconscious in the corner of the bar. They woke him, having Keldra Swift Arrow hurl a splash of red paint directly on his face, and what followed was one of the least dignified interrogations in recent memory. Sumotoshi declared himself the new sheriff in town with a theatrical whistle and a pair of finger guns, while Daunt Blaze lay motionless on the floor, letting out eerie, rattling moans to unsettle the prisoner. Qualm Stain attempted to tickle the sheriff into submission with a burst of magical feathers, while the sheriff shrugged off the profound confusion. In a misguided attempt to build rapport, Sumotoshi offered the sheriff a lobster from his pocket. The sheriff declined, noting he only drank oil, and Sumotoshi unwillingly to let the jester fall flat, ate it himself, immediately collapsing on the floor in convulsing agony while trying to desperately look like what he was enjoying it. The interrogation devolved further when Qualm Stain hurled a magical paint at the sheriff, coating him in layers of pink and white that proved impossible to wipe off, while accidentally dazzling Daunt Blaze's hand in the process. The sheriff, now resembling a confused gobstopper, claimed to be the local lawman and insisted he had no idea where they needed to go beyond the desert. After Sumotoshi loomed over him with a deeply intimidating stare, The sheriff agreed to show him the way. Through his usefulness remained questionable at best. Daunt demonstrated his ability to phase through the solid matter by walking through a clean wall, explaining with great seriousness that he had trained vigorously to align his atoms, while Sumitoshi confidently charged headfirst into the same wall as several times in a row. Eventually, Sumitoshi discovered a shallow pit hole in the back of the bar and, being a hippopotamus, immediately jumped into it and began playing in the mud. While Sumitoshi wallowed contentedly, the rest of the party consulted their magical map of Golodrone and made a troubling discovery. The large dark circle in the center of the map was visibly expanded as they watched, growing slowly and unmistakably in real time. 4 dots on the map marked the destination where they were been debating, and after a brief discussion, the group decided to use their ability to travel to a random tavern, hoping fate would carry them somewhere useful. Fate, as it turned out, had a sense of humor. They materialized inside a lavish, high-end bingo hall tavern and found themselves standing almost exactly where the 4 dots had been marked on the map. At one stage of the bingo hall stood the Harrowing Troupe, a group of 4 performers in the middle of a rehearsal, when Qualmstein made a pointed remark about the venue's lack of alcohol. On stage stood the dancer, a graceful, elven woman draped in flowing ribbons and silver bangles that shimmered with every movement. The fool, a nervous performer wearing an oversized paper and cloth head that muffled their voices and hides their blushing face. The twins, a single Harukin who appeared as 2 identical brothers sharing the same space, moving with eerie, perfect synchronization. The Joke, a towering 12-foot hill giant with a crude puppet strapped to his shoulder. The Harrowing Troupe in the middle of rehearsal, when the Joke's strange shoulder growth suddenly twitched, stretched and spoke, introducing himself as Moogie Woogie. The growth swelled larger, stepped off the stage and broke into a dramatic, heartfelt song about his hemorrhoids, a recent tumor scare, and the burden of being a sentiment lump with his opinions. Moved by the performance or simply overwhelmed, Qualmstein shed a tear and the group was eager to witness their final show.